What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video, and you guys are seeing a new logo. You're seeing a new setup for the videos. This is how I want to go for how it will look like going forward. It might not be the same background, but I'm trying to, figure some things out with audio and video and background and stuff like that. I want to give you guys the best hockey content, and that's why there hasn't been a ton lately. So I'm going to be working under some new different rules that I'm going by with this channel and what I want to be able to put out, and it's only going to be quality for you guys. So make sure to recommend some videos down below that you want to see. And we're not going to waste any more time. Hopefully you guys like the new logo and the new look of the channel. It's going to be awesome going forward. Now, of course, there is still no hockey, and I think we can all agree that the NHL season is more than likely not going to resume. And we're going to be seeing hockey starting probably next October or November. And that's best case scenario, I think, because there's some crazy stuff going on right now. But Elliot Friedman from Sportsnet, of course, one of the best in the business, brought up the fact that there could be a chance that the NHL moves forward with their NHL draft in June. Now, to me, this seems a little bit ridiculous. There's way too many things that are tied to the draft that would make this way too difficult. And even Elliot Friedman in this article said himself, it's going to be difficult for the NHL to want to put this together, to want to do this, because like I just said, there's trades, there's signings, there's a bunch of different things that can revolve around the draft that can't happen right now because of what point the NHL is at in the season, because we know the NHL trade deadline is passed. So what happens about draft floor trades? What happens about moving up in the draft? All these different things were discussed at brief in this article, and I'm sure it's going to be discussed more as time goes on, as there's really not too much to talk about. But basically, apparently Gary Bettman had a conversation with Ron MacLean and was saying that there's a possibility of a June draft as a trial balloon. Like they're basically just going to say, okay, like this is what we're going to do. We have to try this out. Apparently there's some NHL GMs that are for it, but they're for it just because they have to. I mean, you can read the article. It's going to be linked down below. I don't want to talk too much about GM's opinions of this because I just don't think that it's logical, and I'm not going to lie, I don't really think it's going to happen unless the NHL just officially cancels their season, which is what they should be doing, and I'll get to that in a second. But they're saying that it could be June 5th. Now, basically what Elliot Friedman was saying was that they would have to go by points percentage in terms of like how the draft would shake out, because you have to realize that, let's say there's, a team that loses the rest of their games. Like what, there was like 11 games left or something between, certain teams, 11 to 13 games left. So, if a team tanks the rest of their games, that could dictate how much, further down the draft, or further up they are in the draft in terms of, maybe we can qualify for a lottery pick. Maybe they were on the outside of qualifying for a lottery pick, and now they're right in the thick of things. Okay, now we actually have a shot at getting a top 5 pick, which this draft is pretty good. So I'm sure teams would love to be able to move up to that spot. But if they're going to be going by points percentage, then that's going to raise some eyebrows as well. It's going to make some people think, okay, well, I don't really know if this is the best idea, but I guess this is what we have to live with. There's no hockey. There's no chance of being able to finish this out. So they're going to have to go by points percentage. Now, this is what I'm saying, okay? So the only way that the NHL, and I said this a second ago, but I think it's kind of worth touching on right now. If the NHL were to say, okay, we're going to do the June draft, to me, that means the NHL has to go, oh yeah, and by the way, we're not playing. Like, the season's done. We're just going to go forward with our off season. We're going to have the draft. We're going to do free agency. We're going to do everything, and we're going to prepare ourselves for the season that's coming up next year. We're going to make sure that everybody's good, because they can't just jump back in and start playing. I just don't think it makes a ton of sense. The off season and everything like that would be now, I guess, and it's really weird how they would jump back in and then there's like another small off season, or do they jump right back into another season? Way too much. This is what needs to be the focus, and this will tie into why the draft will happen, but it will be after the season is canceled. What they need to do is first of all figure out what that salary cap is going to be like next year. And that means if you cancel the season right now, you can probably figure out that number. And it's more than likely going to be a flat cap, which I will discuss probably in another video, and I have discussed briefly on this channel before, but it's probably going to end up being a flat cap, which means it won't move from the $81,500,000 cap hit that it's at right now. So teams would have to work with that structure. You know, there's a possibility that could go up to 82, but I'm just going to say it's going to be like 81 or 81.5. That's what they're going to go with. So you have that. Then you say, okay, we're going to look at points percentage and, you know, maybe to finish it out. Or you just say wherever the standings were left right now, that's how the draft is going to go. You have your draft. That means teams can make trades. That means teams can, you know, can sign their free agents. And there was something that was brought up here. First of all, create a virtual combine was an idea in this article. So players would have to do stuff over Zoom or over Skype or whatever they're going to be using. Shout out to Zoom. I guess they've really boomed over this quarantine period. But there's a lot of things tied into why this wouldn't make a lot of sense for them to do the draft before the season ends, because there's conditions on picks. So, you know, like there's brought up one here, like Vancouver and New Jersey, the Canucks owe the Kings like a 4th round pick if they re-signed Tyler Toffoli. You know, there's Stanley Cup implications with the Islanders, if Washington wins the Stanley Cup this season, the 2021 third rounder they sent to San Jose moves to a 2020. The Islanders owe Ottawa a 3rd rounder if they win it all. Like, there's a bunch of different things here. I guess it makes sense. It also says here, you know, there's ways to get around it. Like if the Canucks just re-signed Tyler Toffoli before this, you know, summer draft, you know, before the season resumes, if that was a thing, then whatever, the pick goes there. That's fine. But there's picks that result in Stanley Cup stuff, and it's just a lot. It's too much to me for teams to work around that stuff. There's also, you know, the opportunity, if the NHL allows it, which was mentioned again in this article, if teams were to just agree on conditions, oh, we'll move it to next year, or, oh, you know, we'll just give you this pick and this pick, or it's too much. There's also another thing here. It revolves around trades. Now, here's the problem. Elliot Freeman brought up the fact that this probably won't happen, and I would agree. There's no way this could happen. He's saying, what happens if teams agree on trades? Like, let's say, let's just make a trade with, I don't know, Montreal, okay? And again, this is just completely hypothetical. There's absolutely no way that this is going to happen, okay? Let's just say they end up trading, you know, Gallagher. It's not going to happen. Gallagher's going to be a Hab for life. But let's just say they trade Gallagher to get, you know, and a package. They make a package with Gallagher and all this to try to move up to get Lafreniere, right? They're trying to get that first overall selection. And, you know, the season still has to finish. So Gallagher would play the rest of the games if the season resumes with Montreal, and then make his way over to Ottawa or whatever team, you know, he got traded to during the off season, or, you know, mid-season trade, whatever they're going to call it. And the only way that the trade gets reverted if there's injuries or something like that. Like, there's no way. There's way too much. It's not happening. None of this stuff is going to happen. And I hate to be that guy, because I want hockey back just as bad as anyone else. I want everybody to be healthy. I want everybody to be safe. That's the main goal here. But for the NHL to force things, and some people are saying they're forcing it to stay relevant. I don't care about relevancy. I don't care about any of that stuff. You just have to do what's safest for the people. Like, there was also a thing brought up in here about extending the draft rounds. Like, there's extra rounds. There's way too much that is going to go into this crap, that the best way to do this is to look at the numbers, look at the statistics, and see that most people are saying that there's probably going to be a second wave of this terrible problem that's going on right now, okay? If you go ahead and try to finish this season, it's going to screw up everything. It's just, it doesn't work. And I think there'll be an asterisk beside whatever team wins, especially if you change up the format, and, you know, if a team that wasn't even in the playoffs goes ahead and wins the whole thing in the end, there's going to be an asterisk there for sure, because that team didn't even qualify, and now all of a sudden they're Stanley Cup champions. There's too much. And the fact that this draft would have so many things tied to it with, draft people can't really move up in the draft because teams are going to be afraid to make trades. They don't want stuff to be taken back if there's a fluke injury or something like that, or if a physical isn't passed over the off season. There's way too many things that are attached to this that don't make sense. That trade idea, I know Elliot Friedman even said it's not going to happen. That's clear as day. There's no way that works out. You're not trading somebody that's going to play the rest of the games for you and then move on to another team. Or if you're a contending team, like he even said, like why would you want to do that? There's so much here. Let me know, guys, what you guys are thinking. Hopefully you guys love this new setup. If not, I guess I'll take some suggestions. If you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And yeah, I appreciate you guys as always. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Make sure to leave your suggestions down below and what you think of the NHL draft. Peace.